So this is our last sketching class tentatively. We have a house. So today it's going to be a little bit different. We're so used to drawing the circles and then the flowers and the fruits, but we don't do a lot of straight lines or any squares or shapes that are sharp angles. So today we're going to do a front of the house. You're going to need your pencils, eraser, and of course your paper. So before we begin, I'm going to change the color on this one. The color looks nice, but it's a little hard to see the values. So let me change. You can do this with any photo. I just turned it into black and white. This makes it easier to see the different values. Okay. I'm going to take any pencil. I'm going to take my lightest pencil. So 2B, HB, 3B, 2B, HB, 3B are all okay. Any darker is fine too. So we're going to start by first doing the big shape. So I like to do top of the house. If you've sketched houses before, you can start however you like. Sorry. So just look for these big lines, the big lines, not these small ones. Just start with the outlines first. So I would start with the top of the house and then also the bottom of the house. You can also start from the bottom and go up, however you like. Just make sure you draw the biggest lines first. So my center of the house is a little bit to the right of the center. I'm going to make a mark. And then just hold the pencil. And when you're doing straight lines, some of us tend to grab the pencil like this and then sketch like that. No. Try to use your whole arm. Notice how my whole arm is moving? And you can take your pinky, put it on the paper, and then just drag it like that. So you have smooth motion. That's a little too flat or too low. I'm going to erase that really quickly. Today, we will not focus too much on precision. And I'm going to draw the sides of the house. You can use a ruler if you have one, or you can use, if you feel like it's a little too shaky, you can just use another pencil and then trace the pencil. Up to you. Looks a little bit wonky, but that's okay. And then this line seems to be a little bit below the middle. So if I cut this in middle, the line is a little bit below the middle of the page. So right now we're still doing the construction lines. Feel free to go over them as many times as you like. Today we will be messy. And this goes all the way to the edge. And then just roughly sketch the bottom of the house. So including this little garden, the wall of the garden here, the foot of the stairs, and then the garden on the other side. This one's round, kind of slanted. But we're just going to do something like just some random lines. If you can't see, I'll move it up a little bit. And then connect this line almost the edge. We also have this weird shape on the side. I don't think I can fit mine, but you can try. So it almost looks like a 3 on this side. So you can imagine it goes down, back to the right. And that's where the other side of the house is. There's a little fence or patio over here. And then I like to draw the box on the inside. Because the house is white, it makes it easier for us to make the drawing look like a house, because we can just shade in the dark areas and leave the white, and it'll still look like a house. Okay, the next step is to be honest, pick whichever part you want to work on within this area. I'm going to start with the two, I don't know if you can see this, the two columns on the side, because it helps frame the picture. Going to draw a line across, and that's where the other side of the roof is. Sometimes we can make one wall too long, and that's fine. This line of the roof just goes all the way down into the tree, so we don't have to worry about it. Just let it fly off. Okay, and then because we have the line guiding into the tree, we're going to draw the tree as well, but not too much of the detail, just a rough shape. You can start sketching a little bit to keep the texture believable. So I like to hold the pencil on the side flat almost, and just scrape in the leaves. And I'm doing just the outline. And then you want to find the tree trunk. It's roughly somewhere in there. And then the tree looks like it's floating. So let's give it some grass to sit on. These look more like bushes or little flowers. And just softly sketch that part in, because you don't want the plants to look too sharp. So I'm just drawing the ledge of the garden. There's a tiny, well, not tiny, there's a small bush here. So make sure you add that as well. It's not too big and not too small, just about medium size. And then to balance things out, we're going to draw the plants and the foliage on the right side. So we have a big bush in the front, kind of around here. It's near the edge of the image, so we can put it a little bit closer. And it's taller than this bush. So our picture will also be around here. Just something like that. And then just drawing this plant and the ledge of the garden here. Let's draw this little thing here. Okay, and then I'm going to add the stuff on the wall behind the trees here. First, going to draw the underline of this roof part. So there's that hidden piece. You can make it pretty light. And it's just a really long rectangle. We'll add the details later. Make sure you draw the windows as well. Think of them as 3 shapes. There is a really big one here, and a huge rectangle, and then just a small, this is a window. It looks kind of like a thin rectangle. And you can always compare where things are by comparing it to things next to them. So for this, I'm going to use a tree. It looks about twice as wide as a tree. And at this point, I think you can, if you want, you can start shading. So right now, this is a drawing, but when you shade, you fill in the values. So I mean, if you feel comfortable, you can start adding the dark areas. This can help you see the picture better sometimes. Some people like to leave all the shading for the last part, but you can start shading whenever you want. And don't worry too much about, if you zoom in, there's obviously the netting on the window, but you don't have to worry about that. There's just too much detail going on. You won't be able to see much of it anyways. But feel free to challenge yourself if you want to add the detail. One way to make this look like there are lots of details in there, just shade in 2 directions. So I'm going this way, and then just flip it over. And we'll figure it out later. But anyways, continue shading the other parts. And there's also a tiny little window over here, so you can add that as well, which is just a rectangle. It's quite small. Okay, we've worked on this little corner enough. Let's move our attention back to the top. I'm going to start with the chimney. It's just something we can get out of the way really quickly. So it's kind of just a rectangle with a flat square on top. And it does have an angle, but it's still very small. Now we're going to add some thickness to the roof. It's not just one line, there's actually volume here. So just repeat the line under. So repeat the triangle that's under. I'm going to shade in this triangle area here, and also this area here. Make sure you also add the volume to the roof, so copy this line twice. And then shade in the shadow. Okay, and now let's do the detailing on the inside. Hopefully it's okay if I zoom in a little bit for everyone here. Hopefully that's good. All right. So there is a couple things going on. First, we have the facade. So all of these wood planks that are kind of hard to see, but they have a grid on them. So the wall is not just flat. I'm going to draw these lines and also guide them towards the window, which is the centerpiece here. So the first line that I would draw is probably this one. There's a third repeat of the same angle. So underneath the roof, same distance. Just drawing this detailing line. Make sure to keep your lines pretty light because we are working with a white wall. If we make it too dark, sometimes it looks like it's just paint. And then, of course, start with the middle if you can. Just if it helps, you can just draw a line all the way down the middle. We can erase any parts of it later. Oh, that looks a little bit wonky. Because it is such a long line, you can use a ruler or another pencil, and then just use that to help you draw the middle line if you want. And then the next line is just this middle one that lines up with these edges on the column. But they don't touch. So it starts about here. Gonna make it a little darker so it's easier to see. The next two lines will be the ones that are framing the window. So this line and this line just cut across the whole wall. Give yourself a little bit of distance. And if you think about it, it actually connects with this corner right here. So wherever your corner is, you can use that to help you line it up. And then down here as well, it's a little bit below this fence. And then back to the paneling, there are two extra planks of wood beside the middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're all evenly spaced. Kind of just use your eyeball. You can guess where they kind of are. Just roughly draw them in. before we do the windows, or if you've done it, that's okay. Before we do that, let's make the panels look like panels and not lines. So I'm going to take my construction lines, and this part is kind of hard, but just go slowly. I want to shade underneath this area. And you're also going to have an eraser by your side. And just erase that area where the line is going towards. So we're carving out the parts that stick out. It's a little bit hard to explain, but I'll show you. And then on top, I'm also going to add one line going all the way over the top. But it's a very thin plank. And then I'm going to work on this middle part where the triangles are. I'm going to take my eraser and just erase on top of this line. Just on top. I'm going to draw the ledge right on top of that. And feel free to draw in the triangles as well. If you zoom in, there's one triangle that's filled in, and on top another triangle. That's just how the detailing is. They're actually smaller than you think they are. Okay, next, continue just working down. I'm going to create the ledge for this part. If you cannot see it, it's roughly, oops. Right there, instead of creating lines, we're going to create boxes. A bunch of squares next to each other. And just shade the shadow underneath the ledge. Okay, and then next just draw the window pane and then the windows as well. So the inside window is two of these grid lines, two columns, and then so are the windows. But this one's slightly more close because this one's bigger. This one looks like it's more like that. So let's draw the window. First, the sides. Nothing too fancy. I was just shaded all in. Nothing too much to it. And then same with this one. But this one's a little smaller and it's slanted. So it actually goes up. And then on the inside of the window, we have a couple things going on. The window is not on the outside, it's kind of on the inside. So it goes in a little bit. There's a top shadow over here. Do you see this gray? Not this one, but the one on top. This shows that it's going in. And then there's 3 pieces of glass. This one, this one, and this one. Draw the top one, and then the bottom ones are just divided in half. I'm going to erase the middle line. And it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. There's little white space here. So let's leave that white space. And we're going to shade it in. So add some shading. But you can also add the curtains on the inside. If you can see, there's 2 curtains on the inside of the room. So when you're shading that, you can just make it a lighter gray. After you're done the windows, we're going to move back to the wall and draw in these panels. Now, we don't have to focus too much on this area now. Let's go back to the very top of the house and sketch the roof and also the shadow under the roof. First, let's shade the roof. So the shilling on the roof there is a little interesting. Kind of looks like snake scales or dragon scales, but we don't have to worry about that. Let's just get the gray in because this looks too white. So you can start just shading however you like. We can add the details later. if you want to add the details, you can just draw little lines, little marks near the top. So I can show you just tiny little lines. But it doesn't make too much of a difference, so it's totally optional. Just like little tally marks. Tick, tick, tick. And then make sure you make the bottom of the roof pretty sharp. So use a pencil and just sharpen that edge. Because later when we add the shadow, it's hard. It's very easy to make it look like it's blending into one. So outline the roof to separate it from the wall. And then with your pencil, any pencil, just sketch in a very soft shadow. So starting here. This makes the roof stand out. So start dark and then lightly fade away. You can make it darker if you like. There's also the shadow underneath the columns here. And before we move down to this area, there's also some things up here. So I'm going to zoom in and look at this part behind the front. There's quite a lot going on, but we're going to simplify it into 3 parts, or 4. There's that shadow, and this same column, and then also a tiny little door or window here. So just this shadow, and then this column, and then this window. First, you could sketch the column. And do the same shadow thing. And this wall is darker than this one. So this one's lighter, this one's darker. So just lightly shade it, a light gray, all of it. This makes it look like it's in the back. You can also shade this column just a little bit. And of course, add your rectangle of a little door. All right. Next step is we're going to slowly move down to the bottom half. So the first thing that I'm looking at are these shillings, these tiles on the ceiling, on the roof. And they're a bunch of tiny little shapes. Let's see if we can find a way to make it easier to draw without doing every single one of them. Well, let's just shade it in as one gray strip and add a few lines underneath. So first, just create one long line of gray. All the same, no texture yet. So we're setting the stage for the pattern. And then under, this part's very important. I'm going to take my pencil, hold it sideways, and I'm going to create little round shapes underneath. Let's see how this turns out. So if you can't tell what I'm doing, let me show you on a different sheet of paper. So we have this gray shape. Now I'm just taking the pencil and just creating these arches into the bottom of that. So it looks like a pattern. And you're going to do that all the way across. Make tiny little semicircles. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And if you want, you can also add tiny lines, but if you don't want to, that is okay too. Like, boop, flip, flick the pencil upwards to create that little indent. The same with this side. It's a little bit hidden by the tree, but you can still shade it. And when you are done the roof, we will move on to the door, the front door, the steps, as well as this overhang, whatever this is. Okay, so the first thing that you could do, it doesn't really matter which one you start with, but I would start from the top and go my way down. So this looks like it's kind of support for the roof. Or maybe it could be a canopy. Either way, it's an interesting shape. So it's a first draw the black line, like a line just going across, and you can compare it to our building that's already been drawn. So it starts here, and then it ends around here. So not all the way to the edge. Around here. And that kind of curves down for the support because it's hanging against the wall. Looks like it's been nailed into the wall. The next we'll draw the outline of the door. This is great because it just touches the tip of the top of the arch. We don't have to figure out where the door is. This left side first, then bring it all the way down. It's kind of like a circle, and the line becomes straight when it comes down here. And then you're going to copy it on the other side. It doesn't go all the way down because we still have the steps. Then you can just draw a flat line to show the bottom of the door. Then we're going to break this door into small shapes. To zoom in so we can see a little bit better. So there's a line going across here, similar to the rest of the building. There's always a horizontal and a couple of vertical lines. There's always a center. So up here with 1, 2, 3, and the one across. There's 2 windows and a bunch of little details that we don't have to worry about. Please do draw this rectangle in the middle that shows a doorway and it looks into the house. Kind of makes it interesting. And because it's all black, you don't have to worry about erasing anything anymore. Because this is such a dark shape, I would shade all of it in except for this and maybe a little bit of the floor. So let's sketch out this window or this area of white. And for the rest of it, we're just going to shade it all in. So I'm just outlining the white, the lightest parts. And we're going to shade the whole shape in because it is so full of darker values. There's not much white to preserve. Okay, and there are still little patterns here and there. So I'm going to make the frame darker. First of all, just outlining that tiny window. Continue shading the frame. And then now I'm going to switch my pencil to my darkest. So I will be using 6B. If you have 6B, you can use it. If you have charcoal, you can also use that. Just find your darkest pencil. We're going to shade all these black areas. So these are completely black. You have to make them look pretty dark. So it feels like the room is empty, or the room that we're looking into is very deep. So all of this on the inside is completely black. So make sure you press really hard, or not too hard, but dark enough compared to the door frame, because the door frame is also dark, just not as dark. There's also some weird shapes in here. Looks like there could be a piano. Okay. And then back to the 3B or lightest pencil or whatever pencil you are using. You don't have to switch, but if you do switch, it makes it easier to control. Now we're going to do the steps. So there are 3 steps to the stairs. And it goes wider as you get out. So it's one of those kind of stairs. I'm going to draw the lines first and then the perspective. So first draw, oh, it also has a little doormat. Shade that in as well. Okay, so 3 layers. They're all very thin. Then you just have to connect lines. The plants are here for a good reason, so we don't have to see all of the stairs. So let's draw the top. There's actually another line in between these 2. It's a little bit hard to see, but as long as you have the 3 lines in there, it looks like stairs. So just shade under each line. This is under, not on top. And then add your little plants. And most of the house is done. Oh, I forgot these 2 little lanterns. You can just draw 2 dots or 2 rectangles just for details and for atmosphere. So now there's a couple details that we have yet to add, such as the shadow under here. Let's just add that really quickly. Under the roof, there is also a shadow. And then same in this corner. It's dark because of the roof covering the sunlight. So try to shade just under this area. In this little corner, there's a pocket of shadows. Especially against this wall. For the last little bit, you can start shading in the bushes and the grass and all the plants as well. So we'll do a little bit, but we are running out of time. So we'll just do these things on the ground. Just lightly shade. And you can change the pattern of your shading to make it look more like the thing you're shading. So if it's grass, you can try going in circles. Or maybe back and forth. This one's darker, so press a little bit harder. And then same with these plants on this side. It is darker on the bottom, so make sure you show the light difference. And whenever we're drawing houses or buildings or anything that's sharp, it's good to have some round and soft shapes to balance your picture out. So if you like to draw houses, maybe add some trees as well. Shade the little bit of grass in the garden. And we can leave the tree for another time. Otherwise, you can also use the same pattern of sketching for this one as well. But I will be leaving it empty.